Haing Ngor was shot to death in Los Angeles last night.
Physician, humanitarian, and Oscar winner.
Police said he was shot as he returned to his home in the Chinatown section of L.A.
3 gang members convicted. Still today, a theory among the Cambodian community. It was an assassination.
I wouldn't mind being blamed for something I did, instead of for something that I didn't do. It's the worst feeling, I guess, for anybody to be in our situation.
On the night of February 25th, 1996, renowned Academy Award winner Dr. Haing Ngor was shot behind his home in Chinatown, LA. When his body was discovered, his Rolex and necklace were missing, but cash was left in his coat pocket. Witnesses in the surrounding homes heard a car drive off immediately after the shots were fired, but no one saw the moment Ngor was murdered. Later that night, Jason Chan, Indra Lim, and Tak Sun Tan left Indra's house, not knowing what had happened in the alley earlier that night. Within the span of a few months, police arrested the 3 for the murder and robbery of Haing Ngor, with no physical evidence that linked them to the crime.
The department, the chief, the deputy chiefs, they wanted it solved, right? Because everybody was looking at us. And when I mean everybody, we're not just talking about Chinatown, we're talking about internationally.
Jason Chan moved with his family to Los Angeles when he was only 5 years old, spending most of his upbringing in LA's Chinatown district. With gang presence prevalent at the time, Jason joined the OLB when he was 12.
The gang evidence that they presented against Jason and the boys, that they were in the Oriental Lazy Boys and were part of this chain snatching gang. And it was essentially that was it, that got them convicted.
That's why I think people join gangs like a family, I guess. Maybe we was missing something, like we never have. We love family or something. It's like easy to, to blame or to pick on us, just to get rid of us, I guess.
The high-profile nature of the case led the police to arrest Jason, Tak Sun, and Indra solely on the testimony of 2 key witnesses, Timmy Crow Young and Varick Sarik. The news of the incident spread through the neighborhood, including to Timmy and his family, who lived at the opposite end of the alleyway. When Timmy left to go pick up his brother, he ran into the boys, who asked for a ride.
He doesn't see them running from the scene. He doesn't, when they get in the car, they don't talk about having just murdered someone. They don't show a gun. They don't have a Rolex. They don't have any jewelry.
Knowing that Timmy had seen the boys as they left Indra's house, the police questioned him. Over the course of 5 different accounts, Timmy's testimony changed from not seeing the boys in the alley to seeing them in the alley, and then back to his original statement.
You really have to ask a question. Anytime an account changes, especially significantly, you have to ask yourself the question, why did it change?
So it doesn't really add up. Like the prosecution cherry-picked, I think they forced some information out of 2 scared kids and then built a case around some false confessions, essentially, and ignored all of the other evidence that was available that didn't match up with their theory.
At multiple points, Timmy identified seeing the boys on the street, but the interrogating officers kept asking when and where he saw the boys in the alley. Timmy also claimed that Varick was in the car with him that night. Over the course of 7 different accounts, Varick went from claiming he wasn't present in the alley that night to claiming that he was there and saw the boys in the carport.
So from where I'm standing right here, you can't see even the 30 feet to where the other camera is located. And so if they were down the hill in any way, then there's no way they could have seen what happened and unfolded right here in this carport.
One of the investigating officers later admitted that Varick's interrogation was conducted with leading questions. Both Timmy and Varick changed their stories due to the techniques used during their interrogations.
So if I'm using these techniques on a witness, I'm telling the witness that if you don't want to get jammed up, if you don't want these bad things to happen, you need to come forward and tell me the truth. But of course, the truth has to be what I believe it to be.
Eventually, Varick recanted at trial, claiming not only that he wasn't present in the alley, but that he was afraid of the lead prosecutor, Craig Hum, At trial, Hum alleged Haing Ngor was shot by the boys during a botched robbery because Ngor fought to keep a necklace containing the only picture of his late wife. Even though the jury identified no shooter, the 3 boys were all eventually convicted. In 2003, U.S. Magistrate Patrick Walsh ruled that the boys deserved a retrial, predicated on the fact that the necklace theory was fabricated and biased the jury.
It was a close case. He did what he needed to do. He essentially said this was the only picture of the wife. And you might think that that carried incredible sentimental value, but it wasn't the only picture. He had the same picture blown up in his bedroom. In a close case like this, where the evidence was as thin as it was, and the jury had a hard time resolving the case, I thought it was the appropriate case to let them go back and get another trial.
They never received the retrial after the ruling was overturned by a higher court in 2005, denying Jason and the others a chance for a fair trial. However, in 2019, a law change went into effect that allowed Jason to receive a reduced sentence, a step towards freedom but not exoneration.
So they found that based on, the inconsistent witness statements, recanting witnesses, there is no physical DNA evidence that ties Jason to the crime, and Jason has maintained the same story for his entire life, essentially. They found that all to be pointing heavily in the direction of plausibility of his story.
With everything pointing to the boy's innocence, it does bring up the question: who truly murdered Haing Ngor?
He was running with a very tough crowd in terms of some of these businesses he was working in. And we know he had debt, and I think he borrowed money from the wrong people.
To bring some sense of justice to Dr. Haing Ngor and his legacy would be great in this case.
Jason is one of the most incredible people I've ever met in my entire life. He's been through something so traumatic. You'd think that would make him hardened towards other people, but he's not. He's very kind, he's funny, and he loves his family. He deserves to have his name cleared.
I just want the truth to be heard and to clear our names. That's it, because that's one of the most important, because our families, it was not just us that was tainted by this.